In this section, we're going to finally start using the view model from Android Architecture Components. First thing we'll do is create the view model class, and we'll set up a network request inside the view model. Then we'll expose data to the view using live data, and the view in this case will be our fragment. Lastly, we'll set up our recycler view adapter so we can start showing data on the screen. In the home package, create a class called list_view_model. This will extend the viewModel class from the Architecture Components library. We'll start by creating 3 fields for mutable live data to expose each piece we need. The first one will expose a list of repos. The second one will just be of type Boolean, and it'll be used if there was an error loading the repos. And lastly, we'll have one also of type Boolean that will tell our view whether the data is loading or not. Since we know we're going to need this data right when the view model is created, rather than having a method for the view to call to tell us to load the data, we'll just do it right away in the constructor. We'll create a method called fetchRepos, and we'll do our API logic in there. The first thing we'll do in this method is set our loading live data value to true, and then we'll get an instance of our repo service and call getRepositories on it. And we want to assign that to a field, and we can just call it repo call. We can use this later to cancel the call if the screen ever goes out of scope. With access to the call object, we can call enqueue on it and pass in a new anonymous inner class of type callback. And this will give us 2 methods. We have onResponse if it was successful, and onFailure if the API call failed. In onResponse, we'll set our error live data to false. We will set our repos live data to the value of the response body, and that is our list of repos. And we'll also set the loading to false. In onFailure, we'll go ahead and log the error. We will set our error live data to true. And again, we'll set our loading live data to false. Now, since this is our home fragment, this is unlikely to ever go out of scope. But just to keep consistent with our cleanup, in the onCleared method, which is the callback you get in a view model when that scope is no longer needed, meaning that fragment is now no longer in the backstack or being displayed, you can do all your cleanups in there. So we're going to cancel the call if it's still in progress and just set the value to null. And while we're at it, we'll go ahead and clear the reference in both onFailure and onResponse as well. The last thing we need to do is expose all of our live data fields with getters, and we're going to expose them as just live data. That means the view won't be able to accidentally set the value on them, and that's the difference between mutable live data and live data. So if we expose it as simply live data, the view won't be able to call setValue. Now that our view model is all ready, we'll go ahead in the next video and use it inside our fragment.